So we got confirmation tonight. Syracuse is good, but Miami is perfect, at least where it counts. 27-19, a sleepy first and second quarter turned into an excellent football game between Syracuse, the upstart team, Miami hanging on to its number 8 ranking with another thriller at Hard Rock. All right, Canes win at 27-19. Let's take it from the top. Travis Homer had a good first series or two. It looked like he may have a huge game. The numbers looked good in the end, but Syracuse's defensive front is so much better than it's been in recent years. It really showed in this game. All right, what else do we have here? You had a first and goal stand for Syracuse on the first drive after Miami moved the ball at will. Orange held Amon Richards, not necessarily a clean drop, but the pass breakup by Richards in the end zone, and the field goal, it was 3-0 Miami. Okay, Zach Fiegels had a 25-yard punt, and this would be the story of the first half. Syracuse had field position. Miami's defense stood up. So it was a combination of the Canes defense top to bottom. Even the secondary played extremely well. We'll get to that in just a second. But in particular, the front seven against Syracuse offensive line, and Eric Dungey was flat out lost. He just had an awful first half, and his guts and grit, his poise really showed up in the second half. And again, we'll get to that in just a second. Michael Jackson with a few big plays in this one. The first one came when Syracuse set up at the 38-yard line. They had great field position, but Dungey throws the pick on the fade, and Michael Jackson makes a great play on it to thwart that drive. Third down conversions in this game. That was a big talking point for us here at Mark Rogers TV throughout the week. And Miami being one of the worst in the country converting third down. Syracuse defense, one of the best, even against the Power 5 opponents in third down conversion. Well, once again, Miami could not get the job done most of the time. 3 for 13 third down conversions. It was good to see and intriguing to see Trajan Bandy's matchups at times with Irvin Phillips, one of the two great Syracuse receivers. And when I say great, I mean in terms of productivity. I'm not putting them in the Hall of Fame. They are really good wide receivers, but because of the style of offense, they put up huge numbers typically, but not today. Jaquan Johnson had the interception. That thwarted another drive, and the Syracuse defense really had a tremendous first half, keeping this score close, and it almost proved to be Miami's undoing in this game because what could have been a blowout stayed awfully close. That particular Jaquan Johnson play, they showed on the replay where Syracuse ran the wheel route, and then the underneath receiver took the slant and was wide open, and Dungey made a horrible read, threw into what turned out to be triple coverage with the safety coming over, and it was just more of his awful woes in the first half. Amon Richards is back, but is he back? His numbers were good. Let's see. He went for 99 yards, I believe it was, on 4 catches. Had 4 drops in the first half, and they were flat-out drops. Chad Thomas had to leave the game, but he's a gamer. He comes back with a protective sleeve and played a fine game. Irvin Phillips, 3rd and 25 conversion. That set up the field goal as Miami led 13-0. But on a 3rd and 25 play, Dungey hit one of his few passes of the first half to Phillips, and that led to a field goal at 13-3. Michael Jackson with another interception, this time on the fade. Syracuse with 4 INTs in the first half. Eric Dungey did not have it in the first half, but he went back to the locker room and decided maybe that his legs, that his feet would get this team back in the game. 13-3 at half. Steve Ishmael of North Miami led the nation in receiving coming into the game, 62 catches. Now, he was primarily shut down in this game, but an interesting story here in that he comes back to Miami. I don't know what the recruiting status, would love to hear your comments, Miami fans, if you know what the recruiting process was concerning Steve Ishmael coming to Miami. He opted to go to Syracuse. Maybe he wasn't on Miami's board, but he comes back with 62 catches and trying to get this win against this hometown team. His mom and dad were in attendance and watching him in person for the first time. Eric Dungy then converted some huge runs with his legs. A 3rd and 10 inside his own 5. And even though the Orange didn't convert that into points, that was a huge play in the game. They were down by 10, trapped inside their own 5-yard line because Fiegels made some tremendous punts. We talked about the awful punt he had in the first half that set up Syracuse at the 38, but he also pinned the Cuse multiple times inside the 5 and the 10-yard line. This particular time, Dungy, though, got out of it on a 3rd and 10 run, and that was a foreshadowing of things to come as Dungy relied on his legs in the fourth quarter to get his team back in the game. Jeff Thomas showed his blazing speed on 2 occasions, and the one was close to a backbreaker for the Cuse. He burned the slot nickelback, and out of the slot, he just took it on the go route and completely turned him around for a 52-yard touchdown, and the Canes led it at 20-6. Dungy comes back running like a man, karate kicks, jumping over guys, doing whatever needed to be done. He doesn't have blazing speed, and it's difficult to see outside of Jeff Thomas anybody having blazing speed on this field that is completely torn to shreds, especially considering the water that they've had, and Jets and Dolphins go at it tomorrow on this same field at Hard Rock Stadium. But Dungy leads the drive that makes it 20-13. Okay, Syracuse on another drive. They get close. They get inside the red zone, but Miami turns them away with 3 consecutive tackles for loss, including a Trenton Thomas sack. And then on 3rd down and manageable, forget exactly the distance, Syracuse goes with a curious quarterback throwback pass where they throw it down to the wide receiver with the 2 up men, and he looks like he's going downfield to another wide receiver. Then he turns and throws a 45-yard pass all the way across the field. They were fortunate, meaning Syracuse, that one of the Miami defenders didn't get free from a block, pick that pass off, and go for 6. Dungy barely got it in his hands. He was thrown for a 2 or 3 yard loss, and that was a difficult decision time there for Dino Babers. He's got a reliable field goal kicker in Cole Murphy, but rarely called upon from distance. He did convert there to make it 20-16 at that point. Miami comes back. They couldn't actually convert on this particular time. We've got a 4th and 3 at the Syracuse 32. This was a key portion of the game because Syracuse was starting to feel it on offense. They were successful on a number of consecutive drives. Also, the plays were mounting for the Miami defense. They kept the ticker in the corner counting the Syracuse plays. Dino Babers suggested that his goal in this game was to run 75 plays, and Syracuse ran it 93 times against that Miami defense. That's how good the Canes are on defense. Syracuse, 93 plays, 399 yards of total offense. Didn't break 400 yards of offense, even with all those plays. So the Syracuse offense made some hay in the second half, but they were long grinding drives in the second half, and Miami didn't give up any big plays, and they really shut down Syracuse, of course, in the first half, and just started to show some wear and tear there in the fourth quarter. Darrell Langham, again, I was getting to this Miami series that could have ended the game. They were up 20-16. They drove it down to the Syracuse 32. It was a 4th and 3 play. Langham was wide open on the post, and Malik Rozier threw it low. Rozier had a nice game. I don't think he was outstanding. This is what he's going to give you. He basically is an adept runner. He's not dynamic, but he's a good runner. He's mobile. He's a tough runner. He also is a decent passer. He's going to miss some throws. He usually makes the right read. He doesn't turn the ball over. That's huge with this defense for Miami. And if the offensive line can get a little bit better of a push in the games upcoming, Travis Homer is showing himself to be an excellent back. So Langham can't pull it in. He had a definite opportunity to do so, and that turned it back over to Syracuse. Then Cole Murphy comes back off the Syracuse drive to hit a 52-yarder. Difficult decision for Dino Babers. There's about 5 minutes left to play. They're down 20-16. He can either punt, try to pin Miami deep. He can go for it on like a 4th and 7, or he can send out his field goal kicker to try his career long in that muck. Dino Babers made the right decision. Cole Murphy hit from 52, and it was 20-19. Okay, this is where the game got interesting even to another level. Miami, do you grind it out? The conservative way to play it, and the way head coaches have traditionally played this, with 4.5 and 5 minutes to play, with a lead, you go to the run. You run, you at least try to run on first down to see if you can gash them and gain first downs the easy way without putting pressure on your quarterback in the passing game and risking turnovers through the air. What did Miami do? They put it on Malik Rozier, and he generally responded. He missed a couple throws, but he converted a number of throws. Travis Homer also had some first down runs. Miami took it down the field, and of course, Travis Homer broke the long run for the touchdown to make it 20-19, or make it 27-19, and that pretty much did it, although Syracuse, of course, had one more opportunity. So Travis Homer, good first series, shut down most of the game. Great job by the Syracuse front. Comes back with a late touchdown run to seal it. 20 carries for 95 yards. My one criticism is the same criticism that it was obvious to see, and the announcers pointed it out. Miami's protecting a lead. They've got 4.5 to 5 minutes left in the game, and they're snapping the ball with 20 and 25 seconds left on the play clock, and they did this repeatedly. So you would think with a young quarterback that he would go out there and make that mistake once, maybe twice, and then the coaching staff would get a message out to him, communicate to him to let the clock bleed. He didn't do it. It didn't burn Miami this time, but that's another step in the maturation process for one Malik Rozier. Syracuse had it one more time. They got it back with 2:45 on the clock. Dungy made some plays with his legs, but ultimately on the 4th and 7 play, he missed the receiver. It was close to being a catch on the sideline. It didn't matter. He didn't throw it far enough. The quarterback has to know where the sticks are when the game's on the line on 4th and 7. All right. Tremendous game. Syracuse is a really good football team. We got to think that. I know they lost to Middle Tennessee, but they've played NC State on the road within a touchdown, LSU within one score in Baton Rouge. Maybe they lost by 9, but it was a 2-point game until LSU tacked one on right at the end of the game. They've played this game against Miami, and of course they beat Clemson. That's 4 exceptional efforts from Syracuse. No, I'm not touting them as one of the 10 best teams in the country, but they are probably one of the 30 best teams in the country because of the defense. The defense is that much improved. So much credit, so much attention given to Dino Babers' offense and the wide receiver play. And yes, they're tremendous at times. Irvin Phillips, Steve Ishmael, fine productive receivers. Eric Dungy, we saw his lack of productivity, his issues in the passing game. I know this was one of his worst efforts, passing the football, but we saw his gamesmanship and leadership in the second half. Syracuse at 4-4 goes to Florida State. That's a winnable game. Look at what the Noles failed to do against Louisville at home today. Syracuse might be as good as Louisville. So Syracuse 4-4 will be a slight underdog at Florida State. Reputation will probably make it a 10-point spread. Then they go to Wake, or they've got Wake Forest at home. Miami 7-0 at North Carolina, probably the worst team in the ACC. Then for the Coastal Division showdown against Virginia Tech at home. All right, Mark Rogers TV with instant analysis of Miami's big win over Syracuse 27-19. Need to hear from you. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you love college football, we invite you to leave your comments, leave your questions. I get to as many as possible. And like I often say, the best conversations are between all of you. I enjoy reading your comments and analysis right here on Mark Rogers TV.